Hi, everyone. If you are watching this video, you are probably reading Building a Culture of Efficacy in the new Leading Impact Teams 2.0 book. Today, I have my friend St. Clair with me. St. Clair, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit and tell our audience a little bit about you?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Paul. Yeah. As Paul said, my name is St. Clair Adriaan. I was born and raised in apartheid South Africa. And as a person of color, my education system was against me because their main goal was to keep people of color um, not educated enough to or smart enough to question. So we were being prepared for manual labor and everything else that goes with it. The fact that I am here today is indicative of a community and a teacher cohort that pushed us and told us that our skin color or our zip code don't define us and that we should go after our dreams. And even with the inferior education provided to me, I have been able to rise above and be who I am today. And that is possible for every child. So my philosophy then is never to be a victim, never to think that you can't, never to let anything hold you back, and that you can become who you want to, who you dream of being. And all it requires is that will, hard work, and a determination to defy all odds.
Yeah, so I think everyone knows now why I invited St. Clair to speak to all of you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what your role is now?
Yeah, currently I am in Hespera in the California High Desert. I am the school principal of Angkor High School, which is a school of the arts. And my main role right now is actually to bring a balance between the academics and the arts. The efficacy that we're talking about,
Yeah.
of course, rises above being able to dance, being able to play the piano. You need the academic part. You need to be able to write. You need to be able to do the mathematics. So yeah, I'm currently leading a school out here and ensuring that our kids understand the importance of both academics and arts.
Yeah, and I know one of your strategies or approaches, I believe, because I like really follow you a lot on social media, is this idea of building a restorative culture. What does that mean? And why is that so important in building our kids' confidence and agency?
Really important within a school setting or within a community or ecosystem is relationships.
Yeah.
And those, when building those relationships, um, we are able to work towards a shared mission and vision. So there's usually, I refer to the 5 R's of restorative practices, which is relationships, respect, responsibility, repair, and reintegration. Now, when I speak of repair, I'm going to the restorative part of healing,
Yeah.
making things better. So, bottom line is being humane within a school system where kids trust the people, they trust the systems in place, and they trust that everyone is there to ensure their success, their efficacy, their agency in preparing them to be successful when they head off to college, in life, and just to be overall better human beings.
Yeah. And that extends not only to the students, but to all stakeholders. Can you talk to whoever is reading this book or watching this video, how you extend that culture to teachers and other stakeholders and community members? How do you make that happen?
Great question. It is important, first of all, that one models what you expect, because there's no way that I can expect teachers to show respect in how they speak to and in how they go about working and dealing with kids if I don't do that same for them that same courtesy when I deal with them. So when I speak about restorative leadership, it is all, first of all, it's all about creating what I refer to as a psychological safe zone.
Yep.
That means Sunday nights, teachers are not having stomach issues and stuff because it's work tomorrow. It is an excitement because they know they're coming to a place where they are seen, where they are heard, where they are valued, and particularly where they are appreciated. So having that or creating that culture within the staff creates a culture within the school where there is focused fun, there's happiness, there is learning, but there's mutual respect.
Yeah.
So, in layman's terms, it is important to see and to hear every stakeholder within the school. So, it's building those relationships, it's being compassionate, there's empathy required. And as I said earlier, lead by example. But
Yeah.
the relationships is the most important thing that one needs in order to build or to turn a team, a group into a team. And
Yeah.
once you have a team and you share those beliefs and you know what actions are required. And within our school system, what I always go back to in discussions with all relevant stakeholders is right in the middle. How is that going to improve student outcomes?
Yeah.
And when I speak student outcomes, I don't speak test scores. I
Yes.
speak how will it make a kid successful, better, socially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, every aspect of teaching the whole child.
Yeah, and I think that really fits in with our model because I heard you say a couple of things that, well, everything really resonated with me. But when you speak about psychological safety, that's one of the sources of efficacy,
Yes.
right? We can't build a culture of efficacy without it, right? And so it's all grounded in relationships. Another source that you spoke of is it you being a model, right? Because we learn vicariously through models, right? And so if you model that restorative leadership, right, then others will also learn vicariously through you. And so I think in a very short time, you're actually speaking directly to the concepts that they read about in the chapter prior and the chapter that they're reading right here. So what are some of the key practices, concrete practices that you use in terms of being a restorative leader?
Right. First of all, a restorative leader is a good listener.
Okay.
And that requires anyone coming into my office, anyone stopping me in the hallways, in the quad, and speaking to me to feel that they are being listened to. And then it's not just listening, it is compassionate listening, empathetic listening, making sure that they feel heard and that your responses indicates to them that what they are speaking about is important. Sometimes you have an answer immediately, but you don't always have to. If you need to think about it, if you need to figure things out and say, thank you so much, I've heard you, I will discuss this as soon as I have a resolution. So come back to me this afternoon, or I will find you tomorrow. That allows the person to feel both seen and heard. That in itself gives the person leaving you the feeling that they are important, what they needed to talk about was important, and that their leader has listened to them.
Yeah.
The second part of living restoratively as a leader daily is seeing people, hearing people, acknowledging people, saying thank you, saying you are appreciated, saying, wow, what a great idea. Let's see how we can do this. Or let's see who we can bring together so that we can figure this out. So you know that you cannot do it on your own.
Yeah.
Leading a school requires complementary leadership. And everyone else that you have brought to the table should have their voice listened to. And in that coalition, collaboratively, we work to what is best for our organization, what is best for our school, what is best for our kids as a team. The last thing that I want to mention in restorative leadership is you don't just get to know your staff members. You get to know them, their families, what they like, and everything else. So you are not only having conversations about, hey, how's the ELA class going? It is, hey, how was your grandson's soccer game over the weekend? Did they win? Etc. And that little conversations I have found in end of year surveys and stuff that teachers fill out means such a great deal to so many staff members. Just knowing that they have someone who cares more than just having them coming there 8 to 4 working, but also cares about them as a person and their bigger families.
Yeah, because I think in a lot of the schools that we support, you know, when you're at work, it affects your whole family. You know, what you're doing during the day and how your day goes affects and or has an impact on your family, your friends, the community that you live in. It's a ripple effect. And so what I'm really hearing from you in that last point, it's that being a restorative leader is just leaning into your humanity and knowing that this place is just one space that we all exist in.
100%. I know we've a lot of times discussed the Bantu term Ubuntu, and exactly what you said there. Ubuntu just means humanity. Yeah. And when you tie in Ubuntu to restorative leadership, the connection is so great. I mentioned those 5 R's of restorative leadership, and then if you look at the 8 values that Ubuntu brings as a philosophy: respect, care, compassion, love, solidarity, sharing, reconciliation, reciprocity. It's just one and the same thing. Yeah. So that humanity and understanding that I am who I am because of you. Yeah. I always say in this age that we're living in right now, where pronouns is such a big deal when it comes to introductions and everything else, that the restorative leader, the pronouns that the restorative leader never uses or abuses is I and me. And the pronouns that a restorative leader thrives upon in building his organization and relationships are we and us. And once it's we and us, there's buy-in, there is ownership, yeah, and there is a team working towards the efficacy of everyone within the organization.
Yeah, so what I'm really hearing from you is this idea that we're going to actively listen. We also are going to see who is in front of us. We're going to care about them and not just about their work. And then it's also this idea of the we, right? And that we together, we're smarter together.
Exactly.
We can figure things out together. And that's really the anchor of the impact team model, is how do we build a healthy social network within our schools so we can do innovative things, because I think right now we are challenged with problems that we've never really faced before as a country. And I think that we can learn a lot from you. How has your lived experience helped you and supported you with this work?
I think the impact of my lived experience has such a tremendous impact on who I am and what I do, and particularly my leadership. And when I speak about my leadership is my relationship to others, my communication with others, and my understanding of others. You know, growing up there was so many times where I was dehumanized in some form, belittled in some form, and there are certain terms that was used during that time that shaped me into ensuring that no one else in my proximity, in any school or organization that I lead ever feels that way. I'll share 2 of those. I was once, just before South Africa became a democracy, I was out with a number of, at that stage, white friends from college at a hotel having lunch when the manager came over and asked that me particularly leave because someone at another table refuses to be in the same space with people like me.
Yeah.
So the term people like me and then sharing space with people like me guides my way of working to ensure that anybody, including people like me, never feels they don't belong or are never excluded because of something that is different, be it color of their skin, be it sexuality, be it country of origin, but never making someone feel that people like me do not belong in that space. Another occasion, I was 11 or 12, walking with a group of young friends of mine, same age, and we were just heading from our apartheid housing, which was distance and all separated, and we were walking through a white neighborhood when the police turned on their blue lights and scared us to death and told us to get out. We do not belong there. Once again, comes back to sense of belonging and the influence and the impact on me is to make sure that no one ever feels they do not belong. Once again, that was based on the color of my skin. But we have so many differences in people today that are targeted by various people to exclude. So everything that a lot of what I experienced during the apartheid era, the dehumanization, the intolerance, the inequality, everything else that was part of my upbringing. Apartheid only ended in 1994. I was then just about in my early 30s. So the first part of my life was that of an excluded, less of a person. And that impacted me to ensure that no one ever encounters or feels that way. And particularly within our school, there is place for every single one. And if we were all the same, what a boring old world would this have been?
Yeah, what I really appreciate, number one, your vulnerability and being able to talk about those traumatic experiences and how you've actually taken those experiences, and it almost feels like you see the gifts within them because you're paying it forward, like what you learned from that. And it's just beautiful, right? Because of those experiences, it's driven you to ensure that you're creating a culture of efficacy where everyone belongs, right? Regardless of any other characteristics that people kind of divide us.
Right.
Yeah. I really appreciate that. If you had just one tip for our readers as to, what you could do tomorrow, what would be the one thing that you would say do tomorrow?
It's just make everyone feel like they're the most important person in your proximity. The kid that walks through the door, the teacher that comes into your office, anyone that seeks some attention from you for some reason is sit down, tell me more. How can I help? What can I do to make things better? And with that being said, if you implement that and people feel like, because many a times you just, no one's going to do anything anyway. Changing that to, I know I will be listened to. I know I'm going to get advice. I know I'm going to leave with at least one strategy to help me with that class that's giving me such a hard time in terms of behavior. So big thing is just make the person feel heard, valued, and many a times just build up their belief in themselves if it's something that has torn them, broken them down.
Thank you so much for that advice, St. Clair. I'm really glad that you took the time to meet with me today. And I'm really excited for as many people to meet you as possible through this shared book that we created together.
Thank you so much for having me. Just, this is a time where there's so much hatred just towards people being different.
Yeah.
And it is just so unnecessary, because we have such a big world where there is place for everyone to grow, and for us to understand that our differences is what makes us special.